I wanted to start with kind of the smaller story of the Tim Walz stolen valor thing.
He got dragged by the commander that took over his battalion.
Yeah, badly. And
he's basically a pile of shit. Nah.
Yeah. I don't think that matters. Do you think it matters? I felt like, the Swift boat thing.
It has a limited impact, admittedly. I think the fact that stolen valor is a thing might play mainly a role in Virginia, because there are a shit ton of people that are in the military there.
Yeah, that's
and they
true.
vote out of Virginia. So like Virginia Beach and Roanoke and so forth. I don't think it really affects the ticket anywhere else. Yeah, but Virginia's in play. It is important. It has a lot of electoral votes.
Virginia's in play, and if the military mobilizes and voting, not other types of mobilization. I'm told from military guys, obviously this is a big deal in the military community, which, makes sense. But how many military people were voting for Kamala Harris anyway? I'm not saying none.
There would always be a contingent, though. And if you're looking at an election where, Virginia might come down to 10,000 votes, that could be meaningful.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Like, it's still something. I wanted to put this. I was trying to look for the window.
I'm just trying to think of why the hell would you even choose Tim Walz? Like, okay, you're taking Cenk Uygur's advice at that point.
Yeah, that's definitely
great decision.
That's a weird part of it. Like, there was some scuttlebutt over the weekend about, they're gonna replace him. They're not gonna replace him. No. I can't think of a time in my lifetime where they in real time replaced a VP.
Unless one of them dies, they're not getting replaced. It'll be Vance and it'll be Walz.
Yeah. And I think, one good thing is, Vance should be able to destroy Walz in a debate. Like, Vance will go hard on the stolen valor stuff. He will hard.
You know that the legacy media, when they host the debate, exactly what they're going to do. They're going to try to avoid military and foreign policy questions.
Right, but he'll just
they're basically going to say, Mr. Vance, you're weird. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, right.
Or something like it's going to be totally lopsided. But he still probably will prevail because he's fairly charismatic.
Yeah, and I think if he does what Trump did during the primaries, where they'll be like, Mr. Vance, I noticed it was raining outside today. What do you like? Are you an umbrella guy? And if he just launches into a 2-minute uninterrupted tirade about stolen valor, that's how Trump would do it. He'd be like, that's an interesting question about the rain. But what about Tim Walz's insane stolen valor? You can get that shit out there in the debate, regardless of the questions that they ask you. Yeah, he will definitely bring that up. He's the perfect guy to bring it up.
I think that it's going to be genuinely a huge mismatch because Vance is quite clearly much more well-spoken. He's got a lot less baggage. Like there was never a meme about him drinking horse semen, for example. I mean, that comes to mind.
He did have the couch thing, but
also I've seen several fact checkers. Maybe you can look into this. One fact checker said it was pants on fire mode, so it's totally false. Another one said it was mostly true.
Yeah, I have not found a consistent debunk for it. Even Snopes hasn't debunked it, I don't think.
I have no clue what's going on with Walz. I mean, I know that he skipped out on his troops and he's basically stolen valor mode, but I still haven't gotten anyone who can get me a confirmation on whether that happened when he was in college.
Yeah, and I thought when I saw it, I was like, it was someone else named Tim Walz that did it, kind of thing,
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it. So I think we're both.
We can neither confirm nor deny that the presumptive possible vice president of the United States drank a gallon of horse semen.
Yeah, right. The fact that is our official response is bad enough. Like,
Yeah.
we cannot debunk this. We can't. I've tried and failed to debunk that Tim Walz had to have his stomach pumped because it was full of horse semen. I cannot debunk it. And I have tried.
It sounded a little bit like, when they used to joke about Rod Stewart having his stomach pumped because he sucked so many cocks and was high on cocaine. And it turned out that was false. But with Tim Walz, I actually believe it.
He looks like a horse cum guy. And then
it's pure protein,
Yeah, it probably has some benefits. But did you see the meme where it's like Tim Walz on one side of the fence, like with his mouth open, on the other side of the fence is a horse standing. Like,
oh my God.
I think the stolen valor thing will be good fodder for the debate. Tim Walz is in favor of transing kids. Bring that up in the debate. Tim Walz presided over Minnesota burning. Bring that up in the debate.
Walz, that's an important one. That's probably the best.
Yeah, any one of those things, he looks freaking terrible.
And the thing is, unlike Donald Trump, JD Vance has a more linear manner of debating and speaking. So I think he can really hit him hard in a way that even Trump himself, like he'll always get really close to a really good issue, and it's like, use the line. But then he just meanders off into something else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it always pisses me off.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately Tim Walz is an extremely weak VP pick. We talked about this last week. We're like the last two sane Trumpers on the planet. She picked Tim Walz not because she thought she was ahead, because we still got behind.
Venti and a couple of other people. So
yeah, there are a few who aren't doom pilled, but they're like, she picked Tim Walz because they were behind. They didn't pick Tim Walz because they were trying to make a play for more states. They picked him to fortify Minnesota, which is really weird. And by the way,
and people don't realize, look at the polls, for example. Trump is running 3 points ahead of where he was in 2016.
Right.
It doesn't matter that Harris is a point or two ahead in some of these polls. It doesn't matter at all. That's a minuscule lead.
And we're going to talk about, we'll see 2 polls are not a trend, but, we saw basically nonstop Harris. Then the last 2 polls, including CNBC, both have Trump up. Rasmussen, which I trust more than anyone, has Trump up 5.
I don't trust Rasmussen at all.
Really?
CNBC, yes, not Rasmussen. Rasmussen has been oversampling Dems or Republicans, depending on the kind of poll.
Interesting.
They're all over the place. It's like a 20-point spread.
Okay, so interesting. Well, CNBC is at Trump up 2 and Harris up 0.5 point. Hillary Clinton was up 4 and still lost. So we'll see.
Well, no, Clinton was up. It says 6.3. Clinton actually was up.
Well, this day in history, Clinton was up 6.5 points right now. Harris is up 5. You got to think that's bad. I mean, don't you think that's bad? Biden was up 7.5 at this day in history.
Exactly.
And Harris
people are getting all doom pilled, but it's like, you've got to understand this is the result of a multi-tens of millions of dollar ad campaign. They're paying people like Hisson. They're paying people like Brooklyn Dad and people like that to convince you that it's all over. Kamala is inevitable. Fuck no, she's not. Not even close.
No, it's not. There's no Kamala nomenon. Kamala is certainly is currently plus 0.5, which is within the margin of error.
And I think some of those are push polls, honestly. Like with Morning Consult, for example, or CBS. That they're trying to jack up our numbers to make it plausible they can steal the election.
Well, this is also one thing that I wanted to talk about too with Tim Walz. When we talk about Tim Walz sucking balls, literally, then there's also this Tim Walz $250 million state program to feed hungry kids fraudulently spent on log. They're going to start digging into this guy, and he's got baggage. And JD Vance doesn't. If he did, we'd already know about it. Like, we know about it, and that's why, in my opinion, the deep state hacked the Trump campaign. It's because they're looking and they're like, Iran did it. Why would Iran care about Trump? Iran doesn't care about Trump.
Well, look at Neil Gorsuch's statements. Everyone commits a felony every single day. Doesn't even realize it. But so Vance would have baggage. But the thing is, if the legacy media got word that 5 years ago JD Vance jaywalked, it would be front page news. With this dude, unfortunately, they're going to bury it because they want the ticket to win.